Welcome to first lesson of section 5, where we explore the pivotal events surrounding the collapse of the Ottoman Empire and the onset of British rule in Palestine during World War I. This lesson focuses on the breakdown of Ottoman control, the impact of international agreements such as the Sykes-Picot Agreement and the Balfour Declaration, and how these developments set the stage for future conflict in Palestine. First, we will address the topic of the collapse of the Ottoman Empire, starting from the Ottoman Empire's decline. By the early 20th century, the Ottoman Empire, once a dominant power in the Middle East and Europe, was in steep decline. Internal weaknesses, external pressures, and the rise of nationalist movements across its territories threatened its stability. In Palestine, Ottoman rule had become increasingly weak, and the empire's ability to govern its distant provinces was significantly eroded. The empire entered World War I in 1914 on the side of the Central Powers, which were Germany and Austria-Hungary, hoping that an alliance with Germany might reverse its declining fortunes. However, this decision would prove disastrous. Let's delve into World War I and the Arab Revolt. During the war, Arab nationalists saw an opportunity to break free from Ottoman control. In 1916, Sharif Hussein of Mecca initiated the Arab Revolt against the Ottomans, supported by Britain, which promised Arab independence in exchange for cooperation against the Ottomans. T.E. Lawrence, or Lawrence of Arabia, played a key role in coordinating the revolt with Arab forces, particularly in the desert regions. This rebellion significantly weakened Ottoman control over the Arab provinces, including Palestine. The British military campaign in Palestine. The British launched a military campaign in the Middle East with the Egyptian Expeditionary Force under the command of General Edmund Allenby, advancing through the Sinai Peninsula into Palestine. By 1917, the British had captured Jerusalem, marking a significant turning point in the war. Ottoman rule in Palestine was effectively over, and by 1918, the entire region was under British military control. Let's explore the topic of the Sykes-Picot Agreement. We will start with the background of the agreement. Even before the end of the war, Britain and France had been planning the post-war division of Ottoman territories. In 1916, they secretly signed the Sykes-Picot Agreement, named after British diplomat Sir Mark Sykes and French diplomat François-Georges Picot. The agreement divided the Arab lands of the Ottoman Empire into spheres of influence, with Britain and France each claiming control over large portions of the Middle East. What impact did the agreement had on Palestine? According to the Sykes-Picot Agreement, Palestine was originally intended to be under international administration due to its religious and historical significance. However, Britain had its own strategic interests in controlling Palestine, particularly to secure access to the Suez Canal and safeguard its colonial route to India. The Arab world, which had been led to believe that it would gain independence following the war, was deeply disillusioned when news of the Sykes-Picot Agreement became public. The division of Arab lands between Britain and France planted the seeds of resentment and mistrust, which would later fuel nationalist movements across the region. Let's address the next topic of the Balfour Declaration. We will address the British support for a Jewish homeland now. In addition to its secret negotiations with France, Britain also made promises to the Zionist movement, which sought the establishment of a Jewish homeland in Palestine. This culminated in the Balfour Declaration, issued by British Foreign Secretary Arthur Balfour on November 2, 1917. The declaration stated that the British government viewed with favor the establishment in Palestine of a national home for the Jewish people, while also asserting that nothing shall be done which may prejudice the civil and religious rights of existing non-Jewish communities in Palestine. The declaration marked a key moment in the Zionist movement and gave it international legitimacy. However, it also raised tensions between Jewish and Arab communities in Palestine, as the Arab population, which formed the majority, feared that their rights and land would be compromised. What were the Zionist reactions? The Zionist leadership, particularly in Europe, welcomed the Balfour Declaration as a major step toward the realization of a Jewish homeland. Figures like Chaim Weizmann saw it as a diplomatic triumph that could help pave the way for Jewish immigration to Palestine. Over the following years, the declaration encouraged a wave of Jewish migration to Palestine, sparking both cooperation and conflict with the Arab inhabitants of the land. In contrast to Jewish reaction, what was the Arab reactions, and why did it grow tensions? For the Arab population in Palestine, the Balfour Declaration was seen as a betrayal of their aspirations for self-determination, especially after promises made during the Arab Revolt for Arab independence. Palestinian Arabs, along with the broader Arab world, felt betrayed by the British as their hopes for independence were dashed. The declaration marked the beginning of increased friction between Jews and Arabs in Palestine, setting the stage for decades of conflict. Now, the aftermath of World War I. We will start with the mandate system. After the war, the League of Nations established the mandate system, whereby former Ottoman territories were placed under the administrative control of European powers. In 1920, the San Remo Conference confirmed that Britain would be granted the mandate for Palestine, effectively giving it control over the territory. The mandate was to prepare the region for eventual independence, but in practice, it allowed Britain to pursue its strategic interests while navigating the competing claims of Zionists and Palestinian Arabs. Let's explore the British control and its challenges. Under the British mandate, tensions in Palestine continued to rise as both Jewish and Arab populations grew increasingly uneasy with British policies. Jewish immigration, land purchases, and the increasing influence of Zionist organizations led to protests and violent clashes between the two communities. The British found themselves caught between conflicting promises and interests, and their attempts to maintain order often exacerbated tensions. These unresolved issues would later escalate into full-scale conflict. It's time to conclude the lesson. The collapse of the Ottoman Empire during World War I marked the beginning of a new era for Palestine. The secretive Sykes-Picot Agreement and the public Balfour Declaration laid the groundwork for future tensions, as European powers carved up the Middle East and made conflicting promises to both Jews and Arabs.